Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Okay, so is the previous class still going on?
So some people were asking their doubts.
Can you repeat again?
Some people were asking their doubts in the previous class, so maybe that's taking time.
Sir, it's over, but some people are asking out.
Okay. So what is February 5? Kumar Ankit, do you have any questions? What is February 5?
Manish Sisodia announced for opening of colleges. That's
No. So we don't
They
have any
might
plan to. Yeah, we don't have any plan to open the college immediately. At least we don't have any information at the moment. Yeah. So once we have, we will let you know.
Sir, I just wanted to ask, when is the next quiz? Like when week is the next quiz?
So ideally, it should be in this week, but since we yet to complete chapter 3, so probably we'll do next week, or probably we'll see. So do you
So
want quiz?
will you announce that on classroom?
Yeah, of course we will announce before the quiz. So do
Okay.
you want quiz, or do you want to get it covered as part of tutorial work that you're doing?
Sir, tutorial work.
Yes, sir.
Tutorial work is fine, I guess.
quiz.
Sir, quiz.
Sir, quiz.
नहीं but ऐसे नहीं चलेगा
Quiz.
ना, that's fine.
We can have a poll, sir.
नहीं वो तो ठीक है, tutorial भी तो consider करना है. So we'll see. There is no poll, there is no something. We will take a call and let you know. Because as we said, we are putting a lot of efforts in tutorial, right? So we want you to basically participate and probably work over there. So regarding quiz, so that's fine, we can do. And if because anyways, we have quiz again. Okay, no issue. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, let me share my screen.
So what?
Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Let's get started now. So I believe many people have joined. Others may join if they want. Okay, so so in the last 2 chapters, right? So first we discussed about introduction to SEI. Then overall the process. In the last last few classes we have discussed about interaction design as a process. So what do you think? What we are going to study today? Any guess? Before we go, let me show a video first, and then probably you can comment what we are going to study and why that is required.
मकबूल
चूना हल्दी ले आना।
आप खाइए भैया जी। बाबूजी लाला तो अब अफीम देगा नहीं, कट्टों पे प्रॉफिट बढ़ाना पड़ेगा।
ठीक है, बढ़ाएंगे पापा। कट्टे तो हमारा ही डिपार्टमेंट है।
कैसे बढ़ाओगे?
ना मतलब ऐसा बिल्कुल इमीडिएट नहीं सोचे हैं, बट सोचेंगे।
जरूरत पड़ी तो तुमसे राय ली जाएगी। दिमाग पे ज्यादा प्रेशर मत करो, कम प्रयोग करते हो ना तो जंग लग गया है उसमें। खाओ। इमीडिएट नहीं सोचे।
हो गया आपका? हैं? क्या इतनी देर से सुर सुर करने में लगे हुए हैं? 4 तो पहले ही निपटा चुके हैं। बाल्टी मंगवा दें, नहा लीजिएगा उसमें। चलिए, हो गई पूजा।
Okay, so what is the I mean, what is the guess what we are going to study today, and what did you learn or probably at least understand from this video?
That planning is needed.
Planning is needed. Okay, very nice. Anyone else?
Way of planning and the way of execution of that planning. Continuous improvement in products.
Okay,
How to gain profits.
how to gain profits. Okay,
Focusing on backlogs.
So thinking before undertaking a particular task, like will we be able to fulfill it or not?
very nice. And what this is called?
So analyzing.
Okay, analyzing. Okay, what else?
Define.
Define. Okay. What else?
Redefining.
Sir, how to explore our sir?
Yeah, Arjun.
Sir, how to explore our business in the market by designing or analyzing?
Okay, designing and analyzing. Very nice. What else? Anyone? I mean, I'm still looking for probably the term which we are going to study. But anyways, all of you are basically in very right direction.
How our products reach to many users, how advertise it, how to
A well-defined structure for the
Well-defined structure. Very nice. So let me show the part of the video and then just comment again.
देगा नहीं पड़ेगा।
ठीक है, बढ़ाएंगे पापा। कट्टे तो हमारा ही डिपार्टमेंट है।
कैसे बढ़ाओगे?
ना मतलब ऐसा बिल्कुल इमीडिएट नहीं सोचे हैं, बट सोचेंगे।
So the thing is, yeah, so you'll have to think immediately, right? I mean, or probably it's not like, I mean, सोचेंगे बाद में, immediate नहीं सोचा है. Because if you are proposing something, if you are going to do something, right? So you need some kind of planning, as you rightly mentioned, right? So you need some kind of, you can say the structure, or you need some kind of a model which basically draw how you are going to do, right? Rather than just saying, right? So it means you need to somehow conceptualize it, right? Do you agree with this? I mean, if you're proposing something, I mean, you need to conceptualize it, how you are going to do it, right? So this is what we will be studying at least in next few classes, right? So it's about conceptualizing interaction design. Since we are studying interaction design, so the conceptualization basically will be around how you can basically conceptualize the interaction design for different interactive products or probably any kind of product that you're building. So for example, suppose you have a car, right? And you are a coffee lover. So I mean, what could be solution? You, for example, if I ask you, or probably if I mean, Kalin Bhai basically asked Munna, right? So I want to have a coffee machine, right? So he said, I mean, yeah, ho jayega. But ho jayega kya? I mean, is it possible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
How about this?
Sir,
It's a coffee
Sir,
machine.
bad design.
it's a Volkswagen car, right?
Yeah, it's
So when
Volkswagen. You are right.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, so there were people, right? They're a kind of coffee lover or something. So what they in, I think somewhere in, I forgot that when was it? But yeah, so they have installed the coffee maker machine in the basically in the Volkswagen car.
Sir, bad
So-
design as coffee can fall.
Design, sir. It was a luxury
Right.
design.
Right.
If
So-
you
Right. So basically, I mean, they just, I believe, I mean, this is the result of just because, I mean, someone asked and Munna says, okay, ho jayega. Ab kaise hoga? They did not thought. On later on, just to fulfill the, you can say the word or probably commitment, they just installed it. They did not thought about its, what will be the pros, what will be the cons, what will be its effect and everything, right? So that's why, I mean, on the lighter note, I mean, the last last video and the probably this image is kind of emphasize on, we need to conceptualize, we need to build conceptual models for a better interaction design or probably for building a interactive product. So are you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes.
So with this note, let's type, let's basically define it. So conceptual design is nothing but a kind of proof of concept, right? So I hope you are aware of what is proof of concept. It is basically conceptualize what the proposed product will do. Have you, and it's basically, it's also very popular called POC. I mean, in short, proof of concept is called POC. Have you heard of term POC?
Yes, sir.
No.
No, sir.
In which context you have heard of POC?
Chemistry.
Exploit the code.
Anyone?
Code. Principle of communication.
Okay.
Sir, Pirates of Caribbean.
There is no A.
Okay, so POC, basically the proof of concept is often used. So I'm again, so POC here means I only mean the proof of concept. So proof of concept is more like, you can say, the early prototype, or you can say some kind of early solution, just to visualize or probably show what are the things is possible, what are the things which is you are going to provide as part of your product, right? So because the proof of concept or POC is an indicator of what are the functionality, what are the, you can say, the benefits or probably the services you are going to provide to the user, right? So that's why often before building a whole product, the people come up with a POC, and even basically these POC help the probably the, you can say, the users, or probably if suppose it's a big company, to decide whom the project should be given. So that basically and that is basically based on, okay, so if someone is able to probably come up a kind of proof of concept or kind of a prototype or kind of a conceptualized design, it means they have some clarity how they are going to build the final product. Because if someone don't have the clarity, or someone don't have the conceptual understanding of how they are going to solve the problem, or how do they have understanding or fair understanding of the problem space and the problem, right? They are not going to help you. So that's why the POC has been built, the conceptual modeling has been done, and so that is why I mean we have to do so. So can somebody now summarize why the need of conceptualizing design is required?
So there's a saying that goes like a creation is done twice. It first is the mental creation and the second is the physical creation.
Very nice, very nice. So mental creation is more about conceptualizing, and the physical creation is more about final product, right?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Anything else?
Sir, proof of concept is a tool used to tell others the potency of the potential of your product, so that you can get investment and all that.
Okay, very nice, Rishabh. Anyone else? Why do we need to conceptualizing design?
So a single person can't actually form a product. If he have an idea, then then it is required to get a team and to get to know them, what the product actually is about and what it will do. We need to we have a need of proof of concept, so that we can clarify them in a better way. Because
Very nice. So
what
it's
are my
in a sense, yeah. So in a sense, you're saying basically this also help you to basically build a better coordination among the people, and probably everyone is clear what they are going to build and what are the different concepts, or you can say what are the different component it has as part of the system, right?
To reduce the wastage of resources.
To reduce the wastage of resources. Very nice. And how you can save the wastage of resources?
Sir, if we have a clear concept, then what we have to make or what we have to do, then the prototype or the final design would be very efficient rather
Right.
than
Very nice.
going.
Very nice. So because if something, I mean, you're not going to conceptualize first and just say, I mean, ho jayega. Ab kaise hoga? You just keep trying a number of things which may not be feasible, right?
Yeah.
Which may not be feasible. So for example, you have seen the example of Volkswagen, right? And finally they come up with a coffee maker machine in the car, but ultimately it got failed, right? Because it was not, I mean, because instead of providing the benefit, it probably come up with probably many more drawbacks. So probably it may lead to accident. It may probably lead to many other things, right? And probably occupying the space and number of things, right? So that we also have to think about while conceptualizing the design. What is the problem space? What is the exact problem you're going to solve? What are the real problem you're going to solve? What are the benefit you are adding to the existing system if it is not a new design and so on, right? So it's basically to scrutinize vague ideas and assumption about the benefit of the proposed product in terms of their feasibility. How realistic is it to develop? Because once you are going to build a POC, so at some level you are also going to build a system which somehow work on a kind of small scale, right? Or probably some in simulation. So if you feel that, so for example, if you are going to probably get an image from say space, I mean you send a Mangalyaan, right? I mean so on Mangalyaan is taking the pictures, and you want to build a system and assume, I mean you will get the, if whenever the picture is captured you will get within a second. But is it possible to get the picture within a second, right? So you also have to basically think about feasibility. Whatever the feature you are committing, is it feasible to achieve or not? And the POC basically also help you to understand that while you are kind of building POC. So that basically help you to understand what is the vague ideas, what is the real, I mean the ideas which are feasible. And because before building POC, before you come up with the conceptual design, often you have many assumption about the user, about the system, right? But once you start building it, you get a sense whether it's just assumption, your assumption is correct or not, right? So that's why you need kind of early, so POC is more about early system that people can try, can see, and that basically help you to clear out the different assumption and probably check more whether it's a realistic or not. And it also basically help you to determine whether it's a how desirable and the useful the proposed system is, whether it is going to help people or whether it is going to further create an issue. For example, the example I've given for the Volkswagen car. So adding a kind of coffee machine is in a car is kind of may add probably little benefit for coffee lovers, but in a way, I mean, it is going to create a lot of issues instead of benefit, right? So that's why we need to conceptualizing design, and that's why we need to build a proof of concept, that is POC, and so on. Any questions here before we go next?
So prototyping is then quite related with proof of concept, right? If I have
Yeah, prototyping is again, yeah, it's a very similar concept. So basically, you are conceptualizing and probably building kind of POC as part of prototype. So again, POC may be probably a high fidelity prototype. So where you have, I mean, some parts are working, people can try and see.
Sir,
Yeah.
the main motive of conceptual design is that first we have to do planning. That's it's a good design and bad design. Then we have proceed the final product, na?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not only the good or bad design, but you also have to think about other aspect of the double diamond. So if you recall the double diamond of the interaction design process, right? So you have, I mean, different parts there. So first one is kind of discussion or probably determine. Second one is kind of define. So it's more about the early phase where you kind of define the problem space, what are the problems you have to solve. And in the second phase, kind of when you do kind of build some of the possible prototype or the solution, that is the proof of concept here, and get an early review or probably the early feedback from the user. So it's kind of, because if you recall, the double diamond is also a kind of iterative process. You need to go through both diamonds several times in order to finalize the reach to the final product, right? So proof of concept is kind of the early stage of that double diamond, and where basically you try to define the problem space, right, and understand what are the problem you are going to solve, which problem you are going to solve, and then probably whether it's a feasible or not, whether it's a adding much benefit to the system or not. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Rishabh.
For example, you gave us this activity that we have to give presentations. So these are proof of concept. These presentations are basically showing that.
So yeah, so that's why I said, right, so as in the presentation we have asked you to look for the determine, or you can say the discuss different topics, like whether it's accessible, how accessible is that, how feasible is that, right, whether it's safe or not. So it's kind of, I mean, you are doing you can say in proof of concept you also do some implementation, because right now as part of your presentation you are not building something, right, you are mainly just probably determining, or you can say the determining and defining the problem space. So you are doing a kind of part of proof of concept rather than full proof of concept.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I want to show another video, and this will basically help you. Let me show the video first.
In 1981, Xerox introduced the STAR Office Information System. The radical user interface of STAR had a major impact on the office system and personal computer industry. STAR introduced the use of icons to represent objects and applications, the desktop metaphor with a direct manipulation interface, windows containing multimedia documents, property and option sheets, and generic commands. In some ways, such as its use of the move, copy, and delete functions, STAR remains unsurpassed in the consistency of its interface. Other features, such as multilingual, multimedia documents, have only recently appeared in other systems. The following videotape was made in 1982 by two STAR designers, David Canfield Smith and Charles Irby. It illustrates some of the innovations in computer-human interfaces embodied in the Xerox STAR.
I'm David Smith. I'd like to introduce you to the Xerox 8010 STAR information system. This is a new computer designed for office professionals. It consists of a processor, a large display screen, a keyboard, and a pointing device called the mouse. STARs are normally connected together by the Ethernet local area network. This not only allows STARs to communicate with one another, but it also lets them share resources such as file storage and printers. The mouse has a ball on the bottom that rotates as the mouse slides across a flat surface. This moves a cursor on the screen in corresponding motions. It has two buttons on top that can be sensed under program control. You can use these buttons to specify objects and destinations for commands. The keyboard consists of a standard typing array and three groups of function keys. The left group contains the generic functions: delete, copy, move, and show properties. These four are used throughout the system. For example, you use the same function key, move, to move a character in text, a line in an illustration, a fraction in an equation, or a document in a file drawer. The top group of keys consists of common text formatting functions, making text bold, italic, underlined, super or subscripted, or in a larger or smaller font. The right group of keys consists of miscellaneous functions for getting online assistance, defining and expanding abbreviations, stopping ongoing operations, and others. The display screen shows your working environment. We call this the desktop. It is an electronic analog for an office. On the screens are small pictures or icons representing familiar Office objects. This turned black because I pointed to it with the mouse and clicked the mouse button. We call this selecting the object. Selected objects highlight in reverse video. You can then operate on the selection with the delete, copy, move keys, and other keys. Let me select some of the other icons on the desktop. This is a folder, a records file, a file drawer, 3270 and teletype terminals, printers, and in and out mail baskets. Using the move key, the copy command is also a powerful one in Star.
So what did you understand from this video? I mean, what kind of, did you see any kind of conceptual designing here? I mean, and what they have basically conceptualized, what they have tried to basically build and to facilitate something. Anyone?
So they try to take the concept of what we normally have on our desk and move it onto a screen.
Nice. Anything else? Anyone else?
They specifically made all the buttons and all the functions for text editing. You know, they had copy and they had move and all that. It was, all of this was specifically designed for text, for writing text and doing all of that.
Nice. Anyone else?
Sir, then the icons as well, like to organize all our stuff into like, if in real life we would organize them in shells or something. So now icons have been made so that we can organize them in our desktops.
Very nice. Anyone else?
So they basically have made an office into a desktop. So they said,
Perfect. Yeah, very nice. So if you see here, so because as you can see here, we try to imitate, or you can say the build the office environment, the way basically you keep track of in file, out file, what are the file you have, what are the files suppose you have to print, and in a way, I mean, all the most of the functionality is the working like similarly you have a list of files you put in some folder in sorted order, probably some you have some analog or probably some catalog or something where you can keep all the files, search for files and so on, right? So it's kind of I mean, it's kind of digital office or kind of facilitating digital office. So if you look at Xerox, so what is the major work of Xerox?
For office workers.
Sorry?
So for office, those who work in offices, it is specifically for them only.
Yeah. But that's true. But what is the major
Xerox
work of
creates hardware and software for
printers,
hardware and
right?
software for users.
Right. So if you recall, I mean, the major work from the name itself, it's clear, right? So Xerox is mainly for copying the papers or something, right? So I mean, before they came into the computer and probably all those industry, I mean, they were more on you can say the mainly dealing with the paper copier and so on. But they soon realized that, right, the people, the things are getting digitalized, right? The computers are coming, and in that way, the way the physical copies and probably the files which were keep sharing, and it is going to be replaced by the, you can say the virtual, or you can say the virtual files, or probably the where like the way they can share the files over the network rather than some office boy take one file from one place to another. And if you recall, so now the things are changing. And earlier people basically used to get sign, but now you have even replaced that sign by some the digital signature, right? So even now you don't have to print the file for the signing, because earlier the case when the people have to still, I mean, after completing everything, sharing, and finally they print it and get it signed. So now even the people have kind of solved that issue as well by adding the digital sign. So if you look at, I mean, the functionality, I mean, the way they have conceptualized the different functionality which is happening in the office. So be it like creating a folder, which will from the concept from conceptualizing, it is clear. I mean, folder will be something kind of office folder. Sorry, where basically you'll be keeping all the different files, right? And similarly, I mean, you can print it by just the way you print any file. and you can basically here provide the conceptualization. If you have to print any file, you can just drag and drop that file to the printer icon. In that case, it can print. Similarly, if you have to move some file in the physical space to a folder, the way similarly you can move a file into the folder by just dragging and dropping into the folder that you have. So in this way, I mean, if you see, the best part of this proposed information system is the GUI that they have proposed, the way they have conceptualized whole office environment in the digital space. So this basically has inspired many people, and that has laid the foundation to many top companies and probably the people. So do anybody know what has, so what the effect of this GUI on the different companies?
Sir,
Or
if I'm not
like,
wrong, I think what happened was Apple acquired Xerox because of this or their
The
developments on.
acquiring comes very later. Basically, you're
Yeah,
talking
but they were actually like, if I remember correctly, I read about this a long time ago. Steve Jobs
Mhm.
like visited their Xerox, their
Yeah,
Palo Alto offices, and he was blown away by the
exactly,
stuff they were doing with the mouse and the
exactly.
user interfaces,
Yeah. So
and he
that is
tried to
exactly what
implement that.
happened, right? So you are very right. This is what happens. I mean, let me probably show the part of it. Hmm. So yeah, so it seems some issue in playing the video, but yeah, so you were very much right. So this is how it happens. He visited Xerox Palo Alto office, and the Xerox Palo Alto office basically started basically because they soon have realized, right? They soon have realized the kind of the all the paperwork is soon is going to be replaced by the computer system and probably the online papers and so on. So they have to focus on that, and that's why they have probably come up with such kind of information based system, Xerox Star system that I have shown, right? So once when basically the Steve Jobs visited the Palo Alto office of Xerox, he saw a number of things, but he was moved by the GUI used by the system, and that is the key basically behind that is the key behind the Apple's success, and this is what he made up his mind. Okay, so he's going to build the computers like that has GUI, better interaction, simplicity, and so on, right? So this is so let me restart the program. Okay, yeah, so this is exactly happened, and that has basically helped basically the Apple to further excel in the business and so on. So that has basically the benefit of that is the benefit of thing. So that is more about the history. So that is why, well, you are building any when you are building any conceptual designing, often for building a conceptual design, you may have the designer may have some assumption and the claims, right? So you need to write down all those assumptions and the claim when you come up with a new design, right? So what do you mean by assumption here? Anyone? Anyone?
So what the product will do and how will it do anything, like voice assistant, we consider too many features and something were hype. So these all are the assumptions.
Anyone else?
so like while making phones, the developers think like they should have bigger text to accommodate older and elderly people,
Very
but that's
nice.
an assumption.
Very nice. So assumption, and do you think there is any scientific validation for assumption?
Sir, it can be proven, not real, like it has to be supported by some research. Like it has to be found out. It may not always be true.
Yeah.
Their assumptions are all like most of the time based on the claims or the survey they do or the feedback they get from the public.
Sir, or on the psychological research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that should be based on that. But when they have such support, then it's not assumption; it's a fact, right? Assumption is often, I mean, you have may some understanding, and you may not have basically the, you can say, the proof for that, right? So we'll be coming more on the definition. And how about the claims?
So
What do you
claims
mean?
are claims should be more or less based on facts, because right now if company claims, like for example Xiaomi released their air power charger recently,
Mhm.
and sir their claim seems to be quite big, but if they are not able to deliver the potential or the claims that they have done, then that might result in loss of market share, or loss in the people's trust in their technology. Because when a company makes claim, they're generally making a promise so that people might hold off. For example, Apple launched their M1 chip, so they promise that it will deliver more efficient and more power as compared to any other mobile laptop. So they delivered it. Hence, it resulted in a very nice manner in their market share and the amount of products they sold this year. So
Very
market
nice.
claims are something that company keeps in mind while making, because if it is a bad claim, then that might result in a very worse way as compared to other claims that they make in general. So bigger
Very nice.
claims come with bigger stakes.
Very nice. So claims is more about you try to solve some, you can say, the open problems. And so yeah, so it is company's responsibility, yeah, so come up with a correct claim. And if the people realize, okay, so because if you're claiming something, then the people's expectations are high, right? They are expecting to basically see the solution through your claims. And if there is a kind of mismatch, I mean, it means, I mean, you are going to suffer, right? So that's why you need to be very, very careful while making a claims. And similarly for the assumptions, what if the assumptions are right, right? Because assumption may be correct, may be wrong, right? If your assumptions is right, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, you'll end up with a very, very good system, correct system, and which may basically give you a lot of money through the product. What if the assumption is wrong? And if assumption is wrong, and it could be right because it's just assumption, what is the best way to deal with, or probably the rectify the assumption that you have?
Uh,
Anyone?
so they can basically change the product. Like the best example would be Apple's butterfly switch keyboards. Like they thought it is a good change, and they basically introduced it in the, I think, 2016 MacBooks, and they tried to make it work for like 3 or 4 years, but they eventually realized that no, it is not a good product, and they switched back to the normal scissor key switches in like 2020, I think. So like they made an assumption about a new product or like a new type of feature in their product, and their assumption was wrong, so they just reverted back. And I think the same is true for touch bar in MacBooks. They are also removing that in 2021 MacBooks. So like, yeah, companies can just go back because it is okay. Mistakes happen.
Yeah, Bhagesh, you have something to add?
Sir, a more efficient way, like if a company has already made a product and they have invested a lot of resources in it, so a good way to come out of a bad assumption or a wrong assumption is that they can target it towards a different user base. For example, if a company targeted a certain user base but the product will not work and they know it that their assumption was wrong, they can always sell the product as a different to a different market, market it as a different use case altogether, so that they can at least come out of it looking good. Like 100%, their market image will not be spoiled that much. And that's my point. Like if they sell it to a different user base with different claims now, then it will be better for them, because they have already invested a lot of money in developing it. So it will be bad to let go of all those resources at that point of time.
Very nice. So, and what are the ways basically you can think if you have, because if it is correct assumption, so you need to, again, you need to validate it. You need to basically cross verify with probably some expert or probably the real user. And similarly, if you have the wrong assumption, as I said, I mean, you need to probably get rid of it soon, right? Otherwise, it will basically going to cause, I mean, very, very badly, right? So do you think the building a POC that we have discussed earlier, or probably the conceptual design that we have discussed earlier, is going to help you in getting rid of the wrong assumption that you have about the system?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's why when we are
Sir,
building
for example,
yeah, Rishabh.
So, for example, Samresh sir, our maths teacher, was telling us that when we are going to propose a proof, it's better to write it down once or twice, and maybe you will find a problem in your own method, and then you will correct it yourself. So that is kind of a proof of concept, where the proof of concept is telling you where you found the problem, where the problem is, and you're able to rectify it. So writing it down or proposing it to a trial of people, that's a good method to debug your particular program.
Right, right. So that's why basically if you see here, so try to defend and support them by what they will provide. So if it is correct assumption, that's defend it, right? Or probably get support. If it is wrong, then probably whatever the feedback, or probably whatever the user feedback, or probably the way you use system, you are getting it, you need to rectify. Similarly, so those that are difficult to articulate, so it basically also help you to basically improve the system, because it can highlight what ideas are vague and unrealistic. Similarly, identify human activities and interactivities that are problematic. So it's more about determining whether it's feasible or not, right? So because you build some solution based on your assumption. If your assumptions are wrong, it means the probably the feature that you're proposing is not feasible, and based on the POC, and you need to probably realize that earlier, and you can basically fix that, either just make the required changes, or probably just go back to what was there earlier, right? So it's kind of iteratively work out how the design idea might be improved. If it is going to right direction, you can go for. If probably it is affecting your system, you need to probably so update it, correct it, and so on, right? So just to define, so what is assumption? So taking something for granted what it needs further investigation, right? So it means you don't have the kind of fact about it, you are not 100% sure about it. It means it needs further investigation, right? But if you and just assume like, okay, no, just take it granted, like it doesn't need basically further investigation, just based on your senses and based on your assumption, you follow this. So that you have to avoid while building any such system. And if you want to verify, then basically you need to do build POC and get it verified in the earlier stage. So for example, what an assumption could be, so people want to watch TV while driving. Similarly, one example we have given, so people want to drink coffee, probably not to just drink coffee, but want to create coffee, right? Would want to make coffee while driving, right? So these may be the wrong assumption. And once you build POC, and if that is get rejected in the early stages itself, it's kind of will help you to make the final decision. Yeah, Aditya, you want to say something?
Well, can we say autocorrect is an assumption for non-English languages?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be, right? And again, and that's why the people when people build, so and then that basically they realize that no, this may not be required for everyone. It may be probably for the novice English reader or probably writer, right? So earlier probably they have introduced this feature to everyone, but they realize, okay, so that's why if you recall, auto correct or something, you need to turn on that feature, or it is not mandatory for everyone, right?
Yes, earlier it was a default feature. Now,
yeah, earlier it was default. Then they realized, no, this is going to probably so create an issue for the people, because and people often also want to write abbreviation for the shortcut. For example, many of you write good night, right? How do you write good night? There may be hundreds of variants of writing good night. Anyway, so can I see some variants? How do you write good night?
GN.
That's it.
GN8.
Or GUD and NT.
Or we use some symbol.
G apostrophe night.
Of moon or something.
Right?
ENSTTC.
Yeah. So even I've seen 9YT or something. So in this way, people write good night or something. There are several ways people can write. So it means you have to deal with that. And so autocorrect is not the best solution for that. So that's how you need to get rid of assumption. So how about the claim? So a claim is something that's stating something to be true when it is still open question, because the claim is something you have solved that issue, right? You have solved that problem. So for example, the air charging that you're referring, so it means they're saying, I mean, they have solved that. So using the feature they are providing, they have solved that, right? So that is the claim. And that's why, I mean, when you're claiming something, you have to be guarantee that your claim is correct. Otherwise, as you rightly mentioned, it is going to harm you. It is going to basically affect your stock and probably the company. So for example, in this example, a multimodal style of interaction for controlling GPS, one that involves speaking while driving, is safe. So here the claim is safe. What is safe? When basically you speak while driving using this multimodal style of interaction. So again, so you can argue whether it's a safe, this claim is true or not. If the claim is true, that's good. If not, then it's an issue for both the user as well as the company. Yes. Yes, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I wanted to say on the assumption part, but that's over now.
Okay, no issue. So that is about the claim. So for example, suppose you have a kind of mobile robot in a restaurant. So how will enabling robot waiter to speak to customer enhance their experience? What do you think about it?
Well, it will be a little creepy. I don't think people will like that. So I think
Okay,
most
so
people
again,
will
so this may be your assumption, right?
हाँ वही कह रहा हूँ, मतलब it could be both ways. I could be wrong or the person who built it could be wrong.
So
So it
what is
has
the
to be
best
verified.
way to verify whether assumption is correct or wrong?
Taking reviews from the customers, whether they liked or they didn't.
Like making people experience and then take their
Test
feedback.
the robot in
My
few.
feedback.
Just run a beta test of the program, like of this thing, like people
One
who
thing
are
you also have to realize, so often it's not solution just build a POC and then realize whether people want or not, because even building POC may cost you a lot, right? For example, if you're building a POC or kind of a POC for robot interaction, such kind of waiter, I mean, that will cost a good amount of money, right? I mean, because that is not that easy.
Before
Right?
making.
Right. So what are the other ways you can think of probably in order to somehow realize that? And because if you are proposing something new, which is basically very different from existing way, because there are two ways you can do the thing. Right? One is just take the existing system and do some modification and do. But here you are changing the all aspect altogether. You are replacing the real waiter with the some robot.
Sir, maybe you could, before starting itself, you could ask the public how open they would be to a robot waiter, or what they would like to see in a more automated system of serving food, and what do they think the challenges would be. So if they run a poll on the public beforehand, they would have a better idea of which direction they have to make their robot work in, and how they can eliminate a problem before it comes up in the first place.
Right. So you need to basically think about first. I mean, definitely the one is the requirement from the user, and suppose the user say it's a requirement, right? Probably some say, I mean, probably if it is required, then these are the feature you are expecting. Can you think about what are the other research problem? What are the other major issues of introducing a robot like that in the restaurant?
Sir, maintenance will be difficult because maybe sometimes, there's a rush in the restaurant and maybe the parts get damaged. So that will be difficult.
Sir, sir, I had 2 points here. First, sir, for the last question that you asked, like how will we come up with the something, like how will we decide what kind of traits we want to put in? So, sir, we can just take a natural assumption like what kind of waiters people like, and what kind of traits that are there that we can instill in our robot, because we can't make a robot actually equal to a human being, but we can take certain traits of the waiters that the people like they're quite humorous, being multilingual, understanding when to speak, when not to speak, like those kind of traits can be taken in, and we can instill them in a robot. And so second, so the problems that we will be facing while implementing such solution is like in a restaurant, as you can see in the picture, there are kids, right? So if a kid comes in front of the robot and if it is not able to change its path, if it's spills some beverage or some hot or cold stuff on the kid, then that will come as a negative impact of applying this kind of solution, and public will strongly oppose these kind of solutions. So we need to keep in mind, like, is our solution being bad, will hinder the marketplace for such products, because even one incident can instill fear in public's brains, and they might start opposing the product altogether.
Exactly. So yeah, so while building this, so developer may have assumption like this is safe, right? So here the assumption was safe, but as you rightly mentioned, there might be incident, there might be the case, I mean, it may cause accident, it may probably create an issue, right? So this could be probably a wrong assumption. So in that case, one possibility could be, so whatever the safety precaution they can do, right? Another assumption could be, I mean, the robot should be female, like whether it's a Sophia, probably many other, and even in this particular robot, you can see she is a female, right? I mean, in that case, I mean, one assumption the developer have, I mean, when you're building a robot, it should be female, right? So again, I mean, whether this assumption is right or not, I mean, you need some validated data, you need some information that can confirm. So by the way, this particular robot is from Shanghai. One of the restaurant in Shanghai has deployed this. And so this is particularly not speaking robot, but what about, I mean, what about you add a functionality, given that this robot is already in place, this robot is already being in use, right? So can you think of adding the speaking functionality? This will help in general.
Yes, sir. Sometimes the customers want some recommendations, like what is best at their place. That can be added.
Yeah, very nice. Anyone else?
Sir, but sometimes it can become a problem as well, right? Like the customers may unknowingly set off the algorithm for the robot to speak, then it can be a little hindering to their restaurant experience.
Right.
Also, that a lot of waiters, like human waiters, obviously take cues based on how people are responding based on their facial expressions and their behavior, and a robot would not be able to understand that, how people are liking the food.
Right.
Also,
so yeah, if some feature is missing, then some of them you can basically try to solve. Some of them are solvable and some of them are not solvable. So for example, understanding the expressions. Yeah, so there is a lot of algorithms and probably methods are built which basically understand whether what is the expression of the people, what are the things they are asking. I mean, yeah, you need to basically integrate with the state of the art solutions that you have, right? The state of solution that you have for, say, for understanding what user is saying. Similarly, what food or probably whatever the cuisine the person is asking, whether they're satisfied or not, and many other stuff that you can be done, right? So in general, I mean, yeah, so you'll have to probably make a call. You need to understand the problem space, understand the problem space, problem statement that you have, and finally come up with a very, very, you can say the very, very detailed discussion you have to perform, and probably make an final decision accordingly for the final product that you have. So what is the problem? What is the problem being addressed? So the benefit is the robot could take orders, like especially in this case, the robot could take orders and entertainment customer by having some conversation with them, because here we are talking about what if we introduce the conversation in the robot. Similarly, the robot could make recommendation for different customers, such as some kids are kind of restless or probably some fuzzy eaters and so on. So again, so these are just assumption. The real problem is, in this case, we are going to solve, because often it is not possible to get a kind of good waiter or probably a good staff who is kind of very good at service, provide a kind of service which the customers are very much satisfied and so on. And often if you want to have such people, I mean, often they are costly as well. So kind of in general, if they probably assuming, I mean, if we have a robot, so in a way, many times people because introducing robot doesn't mean, I mean, you're going to replace all the waiters in your restaurant by robot, because you may think of, I mean, okay, so a particular section in the robot, because again, all these decision you have to made, or all the decision you have to make based on the trade-offs you can think of. So for example, what if I just introduce the robot waiter or waitress in the only one of the section of the my restaurant, so that people get fascinated. Okay, so let's go to robot restaurant and so on, right? So not probably everyone are allowed to go. I mean, again, so there basically you can basically get a consent of probably the from the user. Okay, so this is technology and you only go if you are like, probably something like that can be done. So in a way, I mean, you need to understand what is the exact problem you're solving and how it can be addressed. Yes, anyone has any question?
Sir?
Yeah, yes.
Sir, can you explain claim again, sir?
Sure. So claim is something, I mean, suppose you have a list of open problems. So for example, uh, uh, suppose Earth revolves around sun. Is it true or not?
Sir, true.
False.
No, it's not true.
True.
It's relative, you know.
It's relative. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so probably let me take a simpler example. So for example, who is the Nobel Prize winner from India in science? Anyone?
C.V. Raman.
C.V. Raman.
What did he invent it?
Raman
Raman
rays.
effect.
Raman effect, yeah.
In that water and light.
To
Raman
scatter,
effect.
something related to scatter.
What was it?
Something related to scattering
It's
of
Tyndall
light.
effect. That's
I think
That
Raman
the
effect.
water shows that color and all.
So
Okay.
Raman,
Raman effect mainly.
Okay. Okay. So here I mean, the thing is, I mean, when he claimed in the Raman effect, he claimed something, right? He claimed something which was not known before,
He
right?
proved also.
He proved that. So if you're proofing something or probably providing some proof and then claim, okay, so this problem which was open earlier, you solve that, and probably with some proof or probably some justification. So that is the claim, right? So for example, another invention that you might be aware of, I mean, whether the plants are living people or not. People before this invention, I think some Indian scientists only they've done this, right? So before that, it was assumption like plants are living, probably in living thing. But he basically justified that with probably say some proof. Like
JC Bose, I think he was.
right. So again, I forgot the name, but anyways, I mean, so it's something like claim he made with some justification. So the claim is something you are stating something to be true, or probably putting the fact which was not known before, and you are saying that this is true. So for example, in this case, the person is saying is safe. He's making that claim like driving, speaking while driving is safe. Again, so that you have to validate whether it's a correct claim or not, because anyone can claim anything, right? But that may be correct, that may be wrong, right? So
sir, claim might be true and a flow for false.
of course, the claim can be true or false. The example MI example someone has given, right? I mean, if the claim was false, I mean, in that case, I mean, their stock is going to be affected. But probably it was correct. That's why probably they see the boom in their business. Okay. So working through assumption. So many unknown needs to be considered in the initial stages of design. So like, where do your ideas come from? What sources of inspiration were used? Is there any theory or research that can be used to inform them? So basically, all these basically help you to determine whether your assumption is correct or not, whether it's feasible or not, and so on, right? So during the early ideation process, so ask question, reconsider assumption, and then articulate the concern. And in this way, basically, you can work with assumption, cross-verify, justify, and in this way, basically, you can basically deal with assumption, because having assumption is not wrong, right? Because many times you build the solution based on the whatever the assumption you have about the system, or whatever the need of the system. The only thing you have to do, just get it verified, just get it probably get some kind of some inspiration or theory or something that can basically justify your assumption that you have, right? So I think okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, articulate matlab, sir, what is the meaning of articulate?
Anyone want to go comment? Articulate is more about building, right? Like
article is
I
more
would say
about
articulate is about like making sure you know what you're talking about, being concise and being on point rather than being vague about anything.
Right.
For example, like a passage might be like 200, 300 words, but it might not be articulated very well. For example, you're talking about the same point with like 3 or 4 lines when that can be articulated in one line. Make sure you know what you're talking about to the exact point rather than being
Right.
vague about it.
Very nice. Okay, so probably we can end here today's class and we can go for the presentation. So who are the people going to present today?
So group 4-7, Aditya Padmagirwar.
Answer group 5-7.
Okay, so Aditya, please share your screen. I made you co-host. Please share your screen and start presentation. And meanwhile, tell me the other name.
Gauravi Singh.
Sir, group 3-7.
Gauravi Singh. So probably Gauravi, you can go next after group 1.
Answer, sir, after that Pavitra Gupta. Group 5-7. Group 5-7.
The name again?
Pavitra Gupta. Pavitra Gupta. Group 5-7.
Sure. Okay, so
Sir?
let's start.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, in next session, can you explain the last paragraph again?
Sure, I can do.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Is the presentation?
Yes, we can see. Yeah, we can see your screen. So please wrap up in not more than 10 minutes. Otherwise, I will have to hard stop you. Please go ahead.
Samarth.
Good afternoon, Rajesh sir and my fellow batchmates. We are here to present our group project, which is on a localized library platform where people lend, borrow, barter, or donate books. In simple words, it's a Tinder for books. And I hereby introduce you to our team, which consists of Aditya Padmagirwar, Shreya Pandey, Krishmeet Singh, Harsh Chaudhary, Rahul Bansal, and myself, Samarth Raina. But why do we have LibLog? It's there to tackle the difficulties faced by people. We have come across that people face difficulties in accessing the book that they want. Sometimes the expense of books, the travel cost, and the time wasted in of the problem. A study states that 20% of the books are pirated and are shared without the consent of the author. 7 in 10 students have skipped on buying a book due to its cost. And also, studies suggest that reading should be a daily habit as it helps prevent age-related cognitive decline. In India and abroad, students tend to pirate books due to their cost. Often, students in a poor locality are not able to borrow books and are left with no access to quality education. We wish to address these relevant problems through our platform. And what is our solution? It's LibLog, to ease your search. LibLog is your own library localized. LibLog's platform lets its users lend, borrow, barter, and even donate books to people who need them. In this app, book owners can put the books they own of various genres, and people who are in need of any type of books can search the name of the book, and a platform, LibLog, gives them the location of the lenders who have the particular book. And now to explain the user interface prototype, I would like to call in my fellow team member, Aditya Padmagirwar. Over to you, Aditya.
This is a very rough prototype that we have made in the Marvel app. Marvel app is an online tool where we can prototype app design. So as you can see, the user's location is given, and when the user searches for the book, it gives the location of the other people having those books in their localities. Users can easily access the social feature of the application at the left side. The social feature will include messaging with the person having that book. They can follow various groups or online forums to discuss books and create a social community regarding books. This is a Figma interface design that we made. As you can see, there's no excessive usage of icons, and these icons are very identifiable, and you know these icons from already. Everything essential like the location of the person and the books located in their vicinity is there. The wish list is right in front of them. Users can easily navigate through the app with these identifiable icons. As you can see, there's my library tab is at the similar position of my account, so users don't have to learn new actions. The users who will be adding their books can simply get to access the camera feature of the app by swiping left from the home screen, just like adding a story on the Instagram app.
ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. So each book has its unique code and number, which helps the app to identify so that its users don't have to add book data. So these are the points we've kept in mind for user interaction design. Visibility of system status would provide the user with notifications such as when a book is available or when a lender texts you about it. Match between system and the real world allows the users to select a default language which they are most comfortable using. Consistency and standards keeps a user-friendly environment using similar symbols such as the search and location tabs on the app. Flexibility and efficiency of use uses live location to provide relevant results to users, and aesthetic minimalist design make sure that only essential services are suggested and present on the first screen. Help and documentation includes a help button at the corner of the app with a guide which the user can use if they are confused or are stuck anywhere.
The target market of our main LibLock app is the college and the school students and the bibliophiles. And as these students who are preparing for various examinations and who require expensive books to prepare with, which they find it hard to go to the local store and purchase them. Bibliophiles and avid readers who wish to socialize and others through book lending and the system. So the main reasons for using our LibLock app is the lockdown has encouraged people to read more, and the coming generation is more inclined towards saving time and getting things done easily and resourcefully at the ease of their home. And usage of the smartphones is also present across a range of strata in the society, which also makes the app accessible and easy to use for them.
So currently we have thought of a freemium model which will cater to different demographics of users. This platform can also make money through ads and collaborations. And we have this is very prototyping. So free users will have the restricted search area, only 5 books in the wish list. So wish list is something that you add these books, and when these books are available in your locality, the person will get notification that this book is available. They can connect their Goodreads account so that they don't have to manually add books directly. The Goodreads books are directly added into their library. The premium users will get unlimited search area on the map, exclusive access to book meets and clubs, and unlimited wish list to search for. This app has direct competitions like bookshops and old bookshops, but we intend to collaborate with these books in the future so that they can have their own database so that people can know that these books are available. And indirect competitors are Amazon, Goodreads, and Bookshop.
The main advantages of using our platform is that we provide a flexible data search, also an opportunity for users to make money by selling or lending books, increase in social and community interaction, and also save time and money by doing everything through a single app. We will make our app accessible and inclusive to all by collaborating with local libraries, bookshops, and NGOs. We will also provide underprivileged kids a chance to access books they can't afford. Also, a space to friends and find communities to discuss about books. Our design and feature goals for the future are: we would like to figure out ways to cater to the people with vision disabilities, and we will also like to take feedback and improve the existing design and feature of the platform using user feedback.
That's our presentation. If anyone have any questions, please go ahead.
Yeah, very nice presentation, and it's great to see. I mean, you are also trying to connect with the real users and probably the stakeholders, including Amazon and so on. So Rishabh, you have some question. Please go ahead.
No sir, by mistake hand raise हो गया था.
Okay. Anyone else?
Where did you make this PPT?
It was on Canva.
Okay.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so thanks. So Pavitra, would you like to go next? Very nice work.
Thank you.
Sir, I am audible. Am I audible? You are. Yes, sir. Just a second. I am sharing my screen. Good morning. My name is Pavitra Gupta. I would like to introduce you with an app for the people, which will be giving you information about laws, subsidies, traffic rules, and that too, not only Indian, but globally as well. You will be the first one to know if there is any amendment in our app, in our laws, or any subsidies. If you want, you can take consultancy of highly qualified lawyers as well. Our targeted audience mainly will be less educated people, can be easily educated about Indian laws. They can be easily educated about taxes, foreign policies, subsidies, and crimes. Now my friend Sai will take over. Over to you, Sai.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, so with this app, with this app, we would aim to help those individuals of a lower economic strata lower the amount of tax they need to pay. To achieve this, the best way I feel would be to promote financial literacy in as many people as possible. And another step that can be taken towards this is to give relevant data about subsidies for example, to farmers to help further educate them. Next slide, please. In furtherance of this, we could also give updates about foreign policy or news about new laws that have been passed to help people make better decisions to improve their standing. We could also have paid consultants from qualified lawyers so that people would know that they aren't being led astray by any shady people. Next slide.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Harsh. Today I'm talking about some various frauds and some related frauds. What is fraud? Fraud is an intentionally deceptive action designed to provide the perpetrator with an unlawful gain or to deny a right to a victim. Now we discuss about some common types of fraud which happen with a person, like mail fraud, driver license fraud, healthcare fraud, debit and credit card fraud, bank account takeover fraud, stolen tax refund fraud, voter fraud, internet fraud. Next slide, please. now we are our main focus is on the women security, because now women security is the most important, uh, because in our India women are face some problems in their life, and so in today's world women security is the most serious and neglected issue, and that's a matter of concern, we must say. So, from this app, we will be guiding women about their rights, and we will provide some helpline number and emergency so that they can contact with the person immediately and they can help us.
Through our app, our main aim is to basically bring all these things in the knowledge of layman people in layman language and not complicated terms, so that people who are doing business and even citizens in general can understand how the laws, how the things work, and how the laws are. So we aim to provide global laws regarding subsidies and international business and trades, which can also help not only the top big corporates, but also small businesses in growing their business, because each and every big corporate house has spent a lot of money on legal fees, because they have the lawyers required who have the knowledge of the law, and that is the reason they're so successful and they're able to do their business so quickly. Cybersecurity in a country where you have 1.4 billion people and a lot of data is being used, cybersecurity is something that's a huge concern for everybody. Many people are facing cyber crimes, and the number of cyber crimes are increasing. And cybersecurity and laws will basically provide them with what they can do in case they face any cybersecurity threat. Next slide, please. Now, as you all know, India has the highest number of deaths regarding traffic. And what I feel, this is basically because due to the lack of traffic etiquettes, people are not that literate enough to know what are the traffic etiquettes. So our main, so this is one of our aims in which we want to bridge the gap so that the basic traffic etiquettes can be known to each and every citizen, including a pedestrian, because traffic is not only limited to people who are driving automobiles, but also pedestrians as well. And we will be trying to reduce this lack of knowledge of regarding traffic rules, and it will be basically presented in a simple and understanding manner using animation, which will make it possible for even people who are not educated to understand it clearly. Next slide. Our app aims to have a simple user interface which is easy for operation and can be understood by any person. It is not in a complicated manner, so that even a person who's not that educated and who knows to do basic things can understand how to do it, so that it like how people do stuff mechanically. It will be having large images to help those people who are not having great vision. Our shapes are also going to be pretty simple, and we aim to provide the app in local languages so that people across the country can understand it, because not everyone speaks Hindi or English, so it would be better if it's available in the local language of each and every state. Next slide, please. I thank you all for listening to our presentation, and if there are any questions, I'm quite open to it. I also thank Professor Rajiv for giving us an opportunity, and my teammates for being a really amazing partner in this project.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It was very nice presentation as well. Any questions from anyone?
Sir, I wanted to ask, like, as the laws, different laws have different interpretations in many cases. So, will this, app be considering all the interpretation that people might have after reading certain text about some law, so that they
Yes.
don't have any, alternate assumptions about it?
Yes, because we are providing our consultancy service as well. Like for the basic, you don't have to pay anything. And if you want to know more, you can pay and then ask. Take consultancy.
Sure, I'll sign up of beta version for this.
Okay, very nice. So, okay, so who is the last group? Please go ahead.
So group 3-7. So,
Yeah, I already made the co-host, right? So please go ahead.
So actually, she cannot access her computer right now. So I will need you to
Should
make.
I made you? Should I
Yeah.
make you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I made you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gauravi Singh, and today our group 3_7 will be talking about foot pedals in elevators. This presentation has been made by Karthik, Ojas, Rahul, and me. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll begin with the various problems that plague us while we use an elevator. The first one is regarding hygiene. So, a lot of people use the elevator buttons every day, and this allows for very easy transmission of germs, and therefore, it's very unhygienic and dangerous to use. Next slide. Okay. People with disabilities, such as people who have amputated arms, they might find it difficult to reach out for these buttons. And people, for example, dwarfs who are very short, they also might have to struggle to use these buttons. Next slide, please. Regarding convenience, another time when it's not easy to use these buttons is when our hands are full. So, for example, if you're using an elevator in a shopping mall and your hands may be full of shopping bags, or for example, in this picture, if you're using the elevator in your office and your hands may be full of those files and folders, you might not be able to reach out for those buttons. So, again, there's a bit of an inconvenience here. Now, Karthik will take over.
So the solution for the above stated problems is a very unique design in which the usual buttons are replaced with the foot pedals.
So is it exist, or is it something you have drawn or something?
Sir, it exists, but very less, in just 1 or 2 places.
Okay.
So the buttons are eliminated and foot pedals will be placed to serve the purpose. And the foot pedals will be placed with an easy to understand and a very attractive design of labeling, so that people can easily use it without any problems. So
Now that we have discussed about the problems and the basic overview of the product, we should look at the solutions and the advantages our product offers. The first being hygiene. The foot elevator eliminates the direct human contact of people with the buttons, thus disabling germs to be transferred. It is really helpful in the pandemic times. The button also helps the people with disabilities like dwarfs or people with amputated arms to easily operate the lift without any hindrances, as they won't need to reach to the buttons. Convenience. It happens too often when a person's hands are full with shopping bags and he or she is not able to reach for the elevator button. This problem is also solved by the foot pedals, as they just have to press the pedal with their foot and they do not need to push the button.
Now I'll be going to tell you about the disadvantages and the user experience of our design. The design we have come up with sounds very amazing and unique, but it's just like the other products which have both pros and cons. Firstly, the lift buttons are located at the eye level and are very easy to locate and operate, whereas in the foot pedals, it may get a bit difficult to locate, especially when there is dim light. Secondly, this design comes with a major limitation that these foot pedals can't be used in a multi-story building having more than 10 to 12 floors. Hence, this design is only limited to small buildings or towers. As our friend Ojas stated, it's a very good design for people having disabilities with their hands. But the design is not suitable for people having disabilities with their legs. For example, the people using wheelchair will not be able to use the foot pedals to operate the lift. The foot pedals have a very simple design and they are easily learnable. If the design is implemented, then it would not take much time for the user to get used to it. Secondly, these foot pedals design is very useful for people having disabilities with hand, such as amputated arms, hence making this design accessible. The people having short height sometimes find it very difficult to press the buttons, and the foot pedals are very accessible. Thirdly, in the current scenario of COVID-19, people are getting a lot conscious about safety and hygiene, and these foot pedals are a very great alternative to use instead of buttons, which helps them to prevent the transmission of bacteria and germs, and thus making it very safe to use.
So as we all know, no design is perfect, and so is this design. Further improvements can be made in this design so that it can be used in multi-story buildings. Some innovation and some algorithms can be used so that we can use foot pedals in a sense that it may take you to up to the 50th floor as well. And as far as labeling is concerned, a very unique and attractive and colorful design can be made for the labeling so that people don't find it difficult to look down and use the pedals. These are some references that we use to take the images and all the data.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Thank you
So
so much.
yeah, indeed a very nice presentation, and the way you have relate to especially the motivation. So whether it's for dwarf or probably it's physically disabled and so on. So it was very, very nice. And so what are the one new change would you like to introduce apart from what you have mentioned, and especially in Indian scenario?
Sir, the multi-story buildings availability.
No, I mean that you have. I mean, what are the new feature that you would like to add to this pedal? Because one issue could be, so for example, at least the image that you have shown, I mean, by mistake, it someone probably, because in India, I mean, it's overly crowded, right? I mean, all the lifts are overly crowded. So it might be the case by mistake you press that. How you can deal with such issues?
Sir, a separate paneling can be made so that the pedals can't be means like in a lift full of people, the paneling should be separate. Like there can be a little bit of wall in front of it so that they don't get pressed by
Sir,
mistake.
No, so I
sir,
mean,
we
if you
can.
look at the lift in India, I mean, they are already very small, right? If you're going to take space like this, I mean, how big is that? I mean, so that is kind of you are eating the space. I mean, that is
Yes, sir.
not feasible solution. You need to think more.
Sir, we can provide with an undo pedal for if someone presses a button by mistake or steps on a pedal by mistake, he can just undo with the undo pedal. Like
So
undo
again, I
pedal is
mean,
not provided in buttons.
no,
In
it is there. I don't know if you have looked at not. I mean, in the buttons as well, there is undo button. I mean, not undo in a sense. I mean, suppose you press 3, right? And if
Yeah.
you press the 3 again, I mean, it will be kind of become undo. Again, it's not available in all the lifts, but there are many lifts which has that feature. But undo is
We
something,
can
I
add
mean, yeah, so you have to think more about it.
we can add child lock. Once we press, we can press the child lock, so no other can press again until the gate is open.
Okay, who is going to manage? In that case, you need to have a lift boy. Have you seen that movie? I mean, so again, so in a way, I mean, it's going to add the cost to the lift maintenance and probably. And if the lift boy is already there, then why do you need to press that button? I mean, he can probably help you with pressing whatever the floor you want to go. Yeah, think more about it. It could be very interesting application, but the idea is you have to think probably. You have to think about. So, for example, one very big solution I can think of, right? So, for example, instead of having the pedal out of the lift, how about keep it inside, just like a shoe, right? I mean, you put your leg inside the probably the space inside the lift so that you can press, so that it is not accidentally clicked. Can you think of visualize that?
Yes,
Yes.
I got it.
Yeah, similarly, you can think of probably many more. I mean, yeah. But and indeed, I mean, this could be one very interesting thing you can provide, probably in different scenarios as well. So, how about in this lift? But probably you can think of in probably other ways. For example, it could be for writing, how you can probably improve the study, education, or probably healthcare, or probably many other areas you can think of.
Yes, sir.
So with this note, and thank you so much everyone for staying till the last. And I think it is always very, very beneficial to have such discussion in the call, because this will help you to probably have the blue sky thinking. And so wish you all the best, and let's meet in the next class. So yeah, so feel free to ask questions. I already shared the form. So the questions will be discussed in your tutorial. So please feel free to utilize the benefit we are providing to you, and take care. Thank you.